as it gets ready. We're getting close. We're live. All right, we will call our meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission for Yuma County this day, May 23rd, 2023, to order. First item on the agenda would verify the quorum. Amber, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. AJ Mosqueda, Ron Rice,
Present.
Jim Allen,
Present.
Tim Bowers,
Present.
Danny Bryant,
Here.
Matias Rosales, Scott Mulhern,
Here.
Gary Black,
Here.
Bobby McDermott, Ron Van Wy.
Here.
Chairman, you do have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. Before we get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll do some housekeeping here. If you parked in the rear gated employee parking lot, please move your car or your vehicle to the north front parking lot to avoid being locked in when staff leaves. Please sign in at the table in the rear by the rear door. And if you plan to speak tonight, when you speak, we need your name and your address for the record. And when you do speak, address the podium, address the chairman, and if you need to ask questions, I'll direct those questions to staff. There's a 3-minute timer if we need to use it. We usually don't have to turn that on, but it is the chairman's discretion as to whether to use the timer. If you have handouts to give them to staff, and staff will distribute those handouts to us. If you use the overhead projector, it doesn't work, so don't worry about it. If you wanted to use the overhead projector, don't try. Restrooms and drinking fountains are out the door just down the hallways to the right. Feel free to use them. And please, no food or drink except for water in the meeting room. Now, if you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on tonight's agenda is approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission regular minutes of the April 23rd or April 25th, 2023 meeting.
Chairman,
Commissioner Van Wy.
do you recommend that we submit the minutes from last meeting as presented?
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Van Wy with a second by Commissioner Rice to approve the minutes of the April 25th, 2023 Commission meeting as published. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item, item number 4 on tonight's agenda is rezoning case number 23-03. Hector Diaz, agent for Zachary Auxiger, requests the rezoning of a parcel 6.12 acres in size from rural area 5 acres to suburban site built 2-acre minimums. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner, presenting rezoning case number 2303. The project site is located in the Yuma Mesa planning area near Avenue 40 and County 16th Street on the northwest corner of that intersection. The intent of the applicant is to create 2 parcels for residential development. This is the zoning and vicinity map showing the subject parcel. Crosshatch is parcel number 4, which is located in the Yuma Mesa Vineyard subdivision and is in Follow Agriculture. Access to the subject parcel is from Corso Caballo Lane, a paved road 24 feet in width, and an access easement which was established on parcel 27 to the west with encroachment permit 11-0224. The subject parcel is bounded on the west by a private dirt road and gravel ingress and egress easement 50 feet in width on the south. The subject parcel number 4 and number 5 were created with rezoning case 2117 and then land division permit 2134. Parcels number 1 and 37 to the north and northwest are zone plan development in agriculture. Parcels 27, 26, 28, and 29 to the west are within the Tuscan Ranch. And of course, improved with site-built dwelling zone, low-density residential, 40,000 square feet minimum. Parcel number 5 to the south is zone rural area 5-acre minimum in follow. And parcel number 3 to the east is zone rural area 10-acre minimum, improved with a site-built residence and accessory structures. This is the site plan submitted by the applicant. The parcel is 6.72. The intention is to create 2 parcels, but this parcel could be potentially split into 3 2-acre parcels. The intent right now is one of 2 acres and another one 4 acres in size. There's a 25 wide access easement along the southern boundary of the subject parcel that connects Corso Cavallo to parcel on the east, which is parcel 3. This is an aerial view showing the subject parcel outline, as you can see, right at the end of Corso Cavallo Lane. This is a view looking east at the access point from Corso Cavallo. And now looking east at the access point driveway. Further east is the access easement. This existing is in standard C. Looking northeast of the subject parcel from the southwest corner. Now looking southwest of the subject parcel from the northeast corner. Looking north. Looking southeast from subject parcels, it's northwest corner. And this is a view looking at Corso Cavallo from the southwest corner of the parcel. No comments received from property owners within the notification area. The Building and Safety Division provided the following comment: all weather access shall be provided, including means to turn around emergency vehicles in accordance to the 2003 International Fire Code and current policy. The engineering department provided the following comment. I will read it. Encroachment permit EP 11-0224 was authorized on May 21st, 2011 by the Board of Supervisors, which granted access to parcels. These are all parcel numbers, 104-27013 and 104-27014. With the following conditions. Item B, Yuma County may revoke this license if any of the following conditions are not met. Item B-2, assessor parcel number APN 104-2713 and 14 shall not be increased in number or size as a result or, but not limited to, a land division, parcelation, or subdivision. Item E, it is agreed by all parties that this encroachment permit will be canceled, the 1-foot non-access easement reinstated, and the access driveway removed if items noted above are not corrected. At the time of the owner agree and sign those conditions. The Tuscan Ranch subdivision was approved by the Board of Supervisors on November 6, 2006, with an 18-lot cul-de-sac, Corso Cavallo Street. Currently, the cul-de-sac exceeds the number of permitted lots by Yuma County subdivision regulations. Based on these permit conditions and Yuma County subdivision regulations, the engineering department recommends denial of the request for rezoning unless an alternate access is provided. If the Board of Supervisors deem it necessary to approve the use of the existing driveway, it is recommended that the owner apply for a new encroachment permit with the engineering department, and the owner must obtain an access easement agreement from the owner of parcel 747-63-027 due to the fact that the existing approach is within their private property. So the point of access to the subject parcel is through a private property. Bureau of Reclamation and Marine Corps not object this. Staff recommends denial of rezoning case 23-03. Since legal access to the property is subject to encroachment permit EP 11-0224, which specifies that no further splits are allowed. If the Planning Commission recommends approval, staff suggests attaching the following performance condition and a schedule for development. Performance condition number 1, within 60 days of board's approval, the owner or agent shall do the following: provide an ARS 12-1134 waiver, record an infrastructure disclosure statement, record a navigation disclosure statement, record a range disclosure statement, record an agricultural disclosure statement, and record a schedule for development disclosure statement. Also, the following schedule for development. Number 1, within 5 years of approval by the board and prior to approval of the land division, the owner shall acquire an ingress-egress easement 20 feet in width to provide physical and legal access from owner of parcel 747-63027 or provide an alternate means of physical and legal access. Number two, within 5 years, approval by the board and prior to approval of the land division permit, the owner shall apply for a grading permit with the Yuma County Engineering Department to improve the ingress-egress easement in a dust-free condition by application of an aggregate base course covered by penetration and chip seal, referred as a Standard B. The end of the ingress-egress easement shall also contain the means for emergency vehicles to turn around. The turnaround shall be in accordance with 2003 International Fire Code and current Yuma County policies. Number three, within 5 years of approval by the board, the owner shall submit certification from a licensed engineer confirming that ingress-egress easement referred to in item 2 of the schedule for development was constructed according to a Standard B, penetration and chip seal. Number four, within 5 years of approval by the board and prior to approval of the land division permit, all lots shall be provided with means of irrigation and access to irrigation water prior to development of any of the existing parcels. The owner and applicant will submit a letter from the irrigation district to the Department of Development Services confirming that a satisfactory irrigation system is installed and the individual lots will have access to irrigation water. And number five, within 5 years of board approval, the property shall be split by means of a land division permit in accordance with Section 507 of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. Mr. Chairman, I provided a copy of a signed agreement provided by the applicant that they reach out to the owners of parcel 27. It is just allowing and granting, continue the access to their property up to 5 parcels. It's not notarized, it's not recorded, it's just a signed agreement they obtained for this meeting. And with that, Mr. Chairman, staff's ready to answer any questions, and the applicant is present.
This signed agreement that you have provided us, would this have made a difference in the scoring if this agreement had been in the packet?
It would have maybe. Guess not, no.
Would have not. That was very good. So this would not necessarily have changed the scoring of this application for county staff.
Correct.
Any commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Van Wyk.
This is not legally binding until it's recorded and notarized, correct?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Is that the reason it wouldn't have, it's not that it's not legally binding at this point. Even if it were legally binding, Maggie, it would not have changed the scoring.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct, and the reason for that is because they still need to obtain an encroachment permit, similar to what was done back in, looks like 2011.
Mr. Chairman, Maggie, is there room and whatnot to get an encroachment permit off that piece of property to allow ingress and egress to the new property?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to defer that to the engineering department. The previous encroachment permit was something that I believe was required to go through the Board of Supervisors for approval. I'm not sure if the same process is going to be required for the new encroachment permit.
Engineer?
Arturo Alvarez, Engineering Department. In response to your question regarding the encroachment, if the board approves the rezoning, we would have to approve the encroachment permit for the subject property.
What the question is that is doable though?
Yes, it is. But just keep in mind that that's an old subdivision that was platted with 18 lots. The maximum allowed lots per subdivision regulation is 20 lots. Right now, it exceeds 20 lots. So.
Very good. Do any other commissioners have questions of staff at this point? If not, the applicant is here. Would some like to speak? Name and address for the records, please.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, staff, my name is Hector Diaz, address 10641 East 37th Street. And it looks like, I know you were asking if it would make a difference if we have the signed document. And it looks like at the time it does not because we don't have an encroachment permit, but it looks like we can attain one if you guys decide to move forward with the approval of the land division. I think from my understanding, it's that we only need to meet two requirements. One's to obtain a signed agreement from the owners of the private easement, and the second would be to get an encroachment approved from engineering. And it's looking like those conditions could be met if you guys would consider approving the potential land division of the two new lots or parcels.
Yeah, well, what you're asking us to do is to approve the rezoning, and then you would still have to do a lot split from the rezoning.
Yes, we would submit a formal engineered plat map, which the Yuma County Planning and Zoning would review and decide if.
So, are you in agreement with all of the conditions that staff put in place if it were to be improved?
Yes,
If it were to be approved, you're in condition?
yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
only,
Vaught.
I heard one caveat there that the encroachment permit was based on 20 lots. And right now, there are over 20 lots. I'm not sure exactly. I probably better get that straight in my mind.
Arturo Alvarez, Engineering Division. The subdivision was approved with 18 lots, cul-de-sac, yes. The encroachment of that subdivision was approved with 18 only. Subsequent years later, they give an encroachment to the property to the east of that subdivision. And as you can see, progressively it started dividing each lot to the point where it exceeds the number of lots permitted per the cul-de-sac requirement.
So that makes it more complex to me. I mean, it looks, are there other engineering ways to get around that or to meet the requirements?
As a matter of fact, there's a private access easement to the on the west boundary line of the subject parcel, but it goes to the north, and I believe that will be more costly for the applicant because of the canals.
How many lots, if he has these parcels, how many lots would be serving at that egress point? Would it be 21, 22?
Right now, the subdivision is 18. You have 3 more, and if
21.
this gets approved, you're going to add one more or 3 more.
2 more, potentially. up to-
Potentially 2 or 3.
Potentially.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is planning on splitting the property into two
Two-acre
lots, so
parcel.
creating one additional lot. However, there is a potential for
Create a
two
second.
additional lots to be created.
So that would make a total of how many then? 21 plus 2, 23? What's the danger of that? What problem does that present engineering-wise if you have an egress that allows only 18 or 20 lots and all of a sudden you have 23?
I'm thinking that if you approve the north lot, the south lot would, the south parcel would also come with the rezoning afterwards. And you're gonna be adding another 3 more lots.
So would that be allowed? 3 more lots to the south?
Mr. Chairman, if the property to the south also requests rezoning, there is a potential for that property to be split into 2 additional lots. So yes, there would be another potentially total number of
25.
6 additional lots.
So, Mr. Chairman, one other question. If it was a condition for them to access through that other entrance, even though it costs more, would that make it doable?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is you may have to do 3 lots, use that 1 lot to build that road through there. I don't know, I'm just thinking off the right. I mean, we're trying to figure this out. And it would be a detriment to us to do it like this because of what we would be, what we'd be setting up, in that area. So maybe a condition like that, I could see something like that. That road needs to be built.
We have one of the conditions in our memo at the end, I believe it says.
Condition number 1, within 5 years of approval by the Board of Supervisors, and prior to approval, down the division, the owner shall acquire an ingress-egress easement to provide physical and legal access, or provide an alternate means of physical and legal access.
So you might want to add that condition.
Yeah, I think that might,
Part of the
It's
schedule
already
for the
part of
development.
well, we're just talking about money, but we need that other access point out. So I think it's a win-win if we do it that way, Mr. Chairman.
But if I'm understanding, that is one of the conditions already in the request,
Yes.
and that the applicant said that they can live with.
Hi, my name is Lucy Johansson. My address is 3555 West 17th Place. And I'm just having a problem with the numbers. I'm a math person, and I was just hoping someone could explain to me how many lots, or if we can count them out, because I'm counting 21, and we only applied for one additional lot, not 3. So I don't know if we can count them out. Are you guys including this side too, or is it just here?
Mr. Chairman, the reason that staff is coming up with additional lots is because the subject property is a little over 6 acres. They are intending to rezone to suburban site-built 2-acre minimum. If the zoning is approved, they could split that property into, apart from the current configuration, they can create 2 additional lots. If the intent is to create only one additional lot, they could request rezoning to SSB 3, and that would limit the number of lots that could be created. They did not request SSB 3, they requested SSB 2.
Understand? So, yeah, I'm confused with the math too. There's currently 21 lots being served, is that right? 21 lots are being served?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Is it okay if you would count? Could I just
If you're going to speak, you need to come to the podium where we can get you on the recorder.
Chairman,
Lucy, stand up here.
there are 18 lots directly off of Corso Caballo, which is the Tuscan Ranch subdivision.
Okay,
And then parcels 3, 4, and 5 to the east of Tuscan Ranch subdivision. That is 21 parcels.
Okay,
So
okay.
this lot looks like it's a bigger lot, and I drove by it, and it looks like there's a guest house on it. It looks like that's just one big lot. I think that lot was made into a big one. Am I wrong? I could.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, that is correct. I think there was a lot tie for that one.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it's 20 lots. There is still in excess, the subdivision regulations allow
20.
up to 20 lots for a cul-de-sac.
And if they were to go as site-built, suburban site-built 3 acres, then we'd be up to 22, or 21. And then if the other parcel did the same thing, would be up to 22. So it would be 10% over maximum if they zoned 3-acre parcels as opposed to 2. Is that accurate?
If this were included as part of the subdivision, they would have to request a modification to the subdivision regulations to allow more than 20 lots to be
Right.
served off of a cul-de-sac.
Right, but they're just using an existing subdivision to get to the access. I think I understand now. But they have applied for 2 acres zoning. We can't change that here to 3 acres zoning. You would have to go back and reapply if they were to do that. So
They can change the request. We would have to re-advertise the case and bring it back to the planning commission.
I think I understand. Is there anything else you would like to?
We'll do what we have to comply, but another easement or another point of access wouldn't be feasible. And the only reason we applied to have it with the 2 acres is because we have a growing family. So we were thinking in the future, maybe one of our grown children would want their own land. So
Right. But
That's not,
you can always
possible.
rezone by special use permit and get some extra dwelling units.
Yeah, so.
That happens all the time.
Okay, so that's what we were thinking, and so if any feedback, we appreciate it, but we can't afford another.
I think we understand what you're saying, so thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. And anyway, did any other commissioners have questions that this gentleman's going to come back, Alex will come back and then,
Yes, I have a question for engineering.
no, your questions are through me and then we'll direct them.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so if we were to exceed the standards of 20 lots per subdivision, in this scenario, since there's already an emergency access road, and there's currently 3 additional properties, if we were to add one more, how would that affect the subdivision standards or engineering or planning and zoning? So I
Well,
don't know if it would really make a difference.
Well, I mean, it would make a difference to, staff's going to answer, it makes a difference in that we limit 20 lots to a cul-de-sac, and that would make 21. So what's the right point? I mean, if you have policies,
Yeah.
pushing them a little bit
Yeah.
probably can always work, but we got to decide how much they can be pushed.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my mind is a little confused here. The request was for 2 parcels. And then the access agreement started talking about 3, 4, or 5, or whatever. If it were just the 2 parcels, are we saying that then it could come back to be rezoned again or to have further splits?
yes, if they zone a 2-acre part, 2 SS2 acres, then they could come back and do another lot split to that 4-acre parcel and get an additional lot.
Okay, and yeah, because this says that in the write-up,
But then it would only be one more. See, it's always just one more when you add one more.
Yeah.
This could be split.
But every time you add one, it's one more.
yeah.
So I think we've got the gist. Any other commissioners have questions of the applicant? We'll call you back if we need you, okay? We'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting now and ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak concerning this rezoning request, either for or against.
It
Ah,
wouldn't be a meeting without
Tony.
our friend there.
Make it quick, I promise. Antonio Martinez, Marine Corps Station Yuma. I'm not here for or against, it's just for the record. So this parcel is about 0.6 miles from the BMGR boundary from the range. So just want to keep a friendly reminder that this is a zone from the buffer zone where it's only 1 home per 2 acres. So in case down the road, they want to create like 1 home and then start creating ADUs, then obviously Marine Corps would be against that information. I'm just.
So wouldn't it be nice if we had a zoning category for 2 acres that didn't permit ADUs? That would help you out, wouldn't it?
It would be nice if we just have the comprehensive plan that says
Enforced.
that any home within a mile from the range is restricted to 1 home per 2 acres. That's pretty much what it states in there. So
Mr. Chairman,
Gotcha. Yes.
even though this is not on the agenda, staff did process a text amendment to the zoning ordinance a couple years ago, and there is a zoning ordinance that does not allow, there is a zoning district that does not allow accessory dwelling units, which is the suburban homestead zoning district. However, we need to stick to the agenda.
right. So just want to mention that. Thank you.
But I appreciate that. Thank you, Tony. Anyone else in the audience like to speak concerning this request? If not, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting. We'll come back to the commissioners for discussion and action. Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, there's a couple of things on this that I see. One, you're looking at a subdivision, and I presume that this was part of that subdivision at one point. It split off. Is that correct?
No, Mr. Chairman, these lots 4 and 5 were not part of.
They weren't part
Tuscan
of.
were not part of the Tuscan Ranch subdivision.
Okay, all right, well, then that's fine. But honestly, you know, that other access point needs to be built. You know, just because we're opening up a can of worms, because then you got the 5 and 3 down there that could split off. And so you're just opening up to more density. I mean, if you left it and didn't build that new access point, I guess you could do it when you rezone 3 and 5. But I think you really needed to do 4 also. That's my personal thought right now, unless somebody changes.
But it's just one more.
I know, it's just one more.
Commissioner McDermott.
Yeah, I tend to lean towards just the discussion that's been going on here and the complicated situation where we have the potential to make worse. With the legal access point and whatever, and it says that the encroachment permit indicates no further splits are allowed, and we don't have anything legal that's signed and filed that says that is that encroachment permit has gone away. I just don't think it sounds like a good idea to leave it open to all of this additional rezoning. Where you've already exceeded the regulations in the area, so, my opinion.
Mr. Chairman, what is their current ingress and egress right now to that piece of property?
Corso Cavallo Lane.
Just off of that cul-de-sac?
Corso Cavallo.
So it is Corso Caballo, but they're not actually part of that cul-de-sac?
Chairman, these 3 lots or parcels are not part of the subdivision. However, there is an encroachment permit that allows them to access Corso Cavallo.
That is not a legal access?
Is legal.
But
By the permit?
It is legal, but it had restrictions that the properties couldn't be split.
couldn't be
further.
split.
So this would require a new encroachment permit with the county to add up to 3 more or 6 more parcels, depending on what size they rezone.
And so, Mr. Chairman, if the applicant was to go back and request to split it one time into 2 equal parcels, would that be doable, Maggie?
Would it score higher?
You know, I'm just trying to help out the applicant.
Mr. Chairman, that we would have to evaluate the new case. It may score a little higher, but without having a new case and without doing the analysis, I don't know if we're going to change our recommendation.
So we have choices. We either recommend a denial because it's more lots, or we recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors and see what they go. But if the board denies it, they could always come back and ask for SS3 zoning to restrict if they got a sense from the board that it might be favorable to limit 3 additional lots as opposed to 6 maximum additional lots.
Mr. Chairman, if the board denies it, the applicant would have to come back with a new request and pay additional fees.
Right.
For a new case.
Commissioners? What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion for denial of 23-03.
We have a motion by Commissioner McDermott to recommend denial of this rezoning case number 23-03. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Commissioner Bowers. Is there further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just a comment. You know, honestly, I understand the issue and between us and the applicant. We're not trying to be unfair, but something has to happen to that access. They do. And like I said, if you split it into 3 lots, use one to do your access, sell it, do your access, you could do it. Now, that's just off the top of my head. You know, I'm a developer, so, you know, I look at different issues and different ways to solve the problems. To me, that would solve the problem, but I don't know whether it's doable. It takes money to do that. So other than that, I would have to deny it, unless the other access point was built at the way it stands today.
Any other discussion? If not, there's a motion and a second on the floor to recommend denial of rezoning case 23-03. Roll call vote, please.
Ron Rice,
Yes.
Jim Allen,
Yes.
Tim Bowers,
Yes.
Danny Bryant,
Yes.
Scott Morhern,
Yes.
Gary Black,
Yes.
Bobby McDermott, Ron Van Wy.
Be the lone no.
Motion carries 7-1.
But it would be real interesting. Understand this is just a recommendation to the board. Be real interesting when, if they don't approve it, if you could fill out from them and see if you could get a limitation of a 3-acre zoning, if that would be favorable for them, that you could come back. But good luck to you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Had a question for engineering about the other access point he was talking about improving and that you were mentioning, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that discussion can take place at our customer
Yeah,
service.
we're not on that agenda item now. We're gone, but the engineer will be happy to talk with you about that.
All right, thanks,
All
sir.
right, thanks. All right, let's move to item number 5 on tonight's agenda. Item number 5 on tonight's agenda, minor amendment case 23-01. Saul and Paulette Crystal request to change the land use designation of a partial 42,253 square feet in size from urban density residential and local commercial to regional commercial. We are making a phone call to the representative of the applicant. Denise will be on the phone. Is Denise on the phone? Can she hear us?
Denise, can you hear them?
Very little. I don't.
All right, we'll try to use the big boy voices. Can you hear now, Denise?
It's still a little, it sounds like you're pretty far from the phone.
Yeah, well, we're going to have staff do their presentation on the project now, and hopefully you can track, and maybe, can the phone get any closer to staff? No? All right, we're going to try staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, could you also open the following item for rezoning case 2304? They go concurrently.
Yes, we will open rezoning case number 23-04, same applicants with the request to rezone from manufactured home subdivision, 20,000 square feet, minimum to general commercial, assessor's parcel 782-12073. So they're both open.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner, presented minor amendment case number 2301. This is a request to change the land use designation of a parcel 42,253 square feet in size from urban density residential and local commercial to regional commercial. The subject property is located in the Foothills planning area at 12468 South Foothills Boulevard in Yuma, Arizona. And the intent of this minor amendment is to accommodate the rezoning of the subject parcel from manufactured home subdivision 20,000 square feet minimum to general commercial C-2. This is the land use and vicinity map showing the subject parcel, parcel 73, crosshatch at the center. It is has 2 land uses. The northern half is urban density residential and the southern portion is local commercial. So neither of those land uses support the SIC general commercial zoning. It needs to be changed to regional commercial. This is an aerial view showing the subject parcel outlined in red in the middle, within the context of 44th Street and Foothills Boulevard, on the northwest of that intersection. This is a view looking south at Foothills Boulevard from front of the property. A view looking northwest of the subject property from the southeast corner. Staff received one letter in opposition from a property owner within the notification area. Rural Metro provided the comment in front of you depicted on the slide. Staff recommends denial of minor amendment case number 2301 based on the following. The amendment is not logical and harmonious with land use pattern of the area. The amendment is not consistent with the overall intent of the plan and its specific goals and policies. The amendment is not an overall improvement to the plan. I will now present rezoning case number 2304, which is the request to rezone from manufactured home subdivision to general commercial. And the intent of the applicant is to establish an automotive repair business. This is the zoning and vicinity map showing the subject parcel, Cruz Hatch at the center. The property is improved with a manufactured home and a detached garage. There's water served by Foothills Utility Facility, and it has an on-site septic system. Property is accessed on the east along Foothills Boulevard, which is a paved road. Properties on the east are zoned recreational vehicle subdivision with a mixture of RVs and manufactured homes. Parcel 194 to the south is the zone general commercial. That is a vacant parcel. Parcel 907 to the south is zone general commercial and is the location of the Foothills Utility Facility. Parcels 71 and 72 to the south are also zoned general commercial. Only parcel 72 is improved with a building with offices, and parcel 71 is a vacant parcel. Parcels on the west, northwest, and north are zoned manufactured home subdivision, 20,000 square feet minimum, improved with site builds and manufactured homes. And parcels 75, 76, 80, and 81 are zoned manufactured home subdivision, improved with manufactured homes. This is an aerial view showing the subject parcel outlined in red. This is a view looking southwest from the northeast corner, looking at the existing manufactured home and the garage on the back. This is an aerial view looking south. Staff received one letter in opposition from a property owner within the notification area. That opposition letter should be in front of you. Rural Metro provided the following comment: road widths and vehicle clearance and the minimum distances from a fire hydrant to a structure based on the International Fire Code is required. Staff recommends denial of rezoning case 2304. The proposed use being dissimilar to adjacent residential uses to the west and north and its close proximity to the east. The proposed use is incompatible in this location. The existing regional commercial uses along Foothills Boulevard are located in the commercial corridor near I-8 or on major intersections. This parcel is not located within either of the examples mentioned. If the Planning Commission recommends approval, staff recommends attaching the following performance condition. Within 60 days of board approval, the owner agent shall provide an ARS 12-1134 waiver, submit a recorded restricted airspace disclosure statement, and submit a site plan that depicts all existing structures, their proposed use, size, and the setbacks from property owners. Mr. Chairman, that concludes staff's presentation. Staff's ready to answer questions.
Mr. Chairman, real
Yes.
quick, I just found out that we could actually, if she can't, if Denise can't hear us, we can have her call into a different line and we can hear her through those speakers and she can get our audio better. Did you want to
That's,
see if she wants to try that?
go ahead and ask her, yeah.
Denise, were you able to hear that pretty well? Did you want to try a different way of calling in?
Yes, that would be great if you could give me the number, I'll call it.
Okay. It says when you call, it should ring once or twice, and then it'll automatically pick up.
Perfect.
So the phone number is 928-817-5182.
Perfect, I'll call right now.
And if something happens and it doesn't connect, then just call this phone number back, and this is what we'll have to use. And this phone number, it's 928-817-5182. 817-5037.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. That might be easier.
Yes, so we'll just take a couple of minutes recess here while we wait for her to call so that she doesn't miss any commissioners' questions to staff. Another 50 or 60 years, we're going to get this down. Denise, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. That's perfect.
Perfect. Well, Denise, staff just gave their presentation, and now we're going to ask commissioners if they have any questions of staff. Do any commissioners have questions of staff at this point? If not, then it's time for the applicant to speak. And Denise, you heard that staff's recommended denial of these requests, right?
I did hear that. I believe what little I could pick up of the presentation, it just was a repeat of the letters that were sent to my parents. So I think I'm fine with understanding their thinking.
Okay, so it's your turn to speak and tell us why staff has made the wrong recommendation here.
Okay. Well, I think as soon as my father let me know that he was interested in turning this property from the residential designation to commercial, I've been to the property numerous times myself. They've been living in the area for 20-some years, and he purchased the property back then. They lived nearby, so they're quite familiar with the area. And honestly, I've watched the area over the last 20-plus years along Foothills Boulevard seem like it's stagnated or going down. I mean, there's been a few buildings that have been removed, the grocery store is gone, et cetera. So it just seems like the area needs an infusion of something. The property, as was mentioned by staff, has a garage on it, which my father built about 2 or 3 years ago. It's a 40-foot by 60-foot, so it's not huge, but it's a decent size. It's got 2 12-foot by 12-foot garage doors. And then it's got the double-wide mobile home also on the property. He rents it out just as a residential property, obviously, but being on a 5-lane arterial and very close to the intersection, it really isn't ideal for residential use. It's immediately adjacent to commercial property, and everything at that intersection right there obviously is commercial. And my father's hope is that for the property, rather than residential, that it be changed to something similar to what's adjacent to it. He hopes that the current garage can be utilized for automobile repair shop. As is, the property is already well suited for that with that existing garage. If a interested renter found that the existing building was too small, he could foresee building a similar sized building right adjacent to it, meaning another 40-foot by 60-foot building. Together, that would be, somewhere around 5,000 square feet for the two buildings together. But as is, the building is 2,400 square feet that's sitting there now. A C2 designation would allow this use. A C1 designation would only allow it if there were special use granted, which to us seems really risky because it would have to be granted later, not by you, is my understanding. As a result, it does seem like a C1 is less helpful to my parents than the current residential designation because it appears that generally C1 uses are not really logical for this area. It's too far from other uses that would drive businesses to it, meaning if you were to put in a barber or a bookshop or an ice cream shop, there just isn't a lot of local users that would be drawn. So immediate users, yes, but people aren't going to be driving from Highway 8 all the way over there and say, oh, let's go get ice cream. So really at 0.97 acres, the parcel is just really too small for a big box store, but the C2 designation allows many of the logical uses that are suitable for a smaller parcel such as this one. My father is most interested in many of those uses that revolve around cars, meaning auto repair, auto detailing, motorcycle repair, that sort of a thing. Things that would be logical for that area because it would be one of those, you pass by and you say, oh, I think I'll get my car repaired there instead of driving all the way to the highway. There's plenty of residential in the area. And then lastly, for my parents, residential rentals are very high maintenance. And this being along a main street, it's really difficult to rent out. They're hoping for a more logical commercial use of the property, which allows them to be a little less hands-on day-to-day. Commercial designation for an auto repair business would be far less hands-on and effort for them. And they're hopeful that you'll understand that this area would benefit by an auto repair designation or auto repair store with that C2 designation. There just really isn't a lot going on in this area. And as I mentioned, it's been stagnant or going downhill. The Dollar General was built, which is about 700 feet away. But other than that, it just really hasn't had a lot of influx of improvements in the area. With that, I don't know if my father has anything else that he feels like I missed that he wants to add.
Let me first find out, Denise, if any of commissioners have questions of you. Do any commissioners have questions of Denise? If not, if you'll just hold, we'll invite your mother and father and see if they would like to speak. Would you like to speak? Would you guys like to speak? Yes, your father's coming forward. Denise, did we get your name and address for the record?
I don't believe so.
What's
The
your
first name is Denise. Last name is spelled Cieri, and my address is 2607 Western Avenue, number 211, and that's Seattle, Washington, 98121.
All right, thank you. Now your father's at the podium. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Saul Crystal. I live at 11693 Ironwood Drive. I've lived there for over 20 years. And I've traveled the Foothills Boulevard every day. And the property that we have there is a large piece, and they say it's not compatible with surrounding property, but it's commercial property. I mean, it's just right on Foothills Boulevard, and it shouldn't be compatible. It's got a trailer on it, which other properties have trailers on them too, but this property has quite a bit of land with it. It's 90.97 tenths of an acre. And the area is slow growing. I've been there for 20 years, and the only development that has been done is like $2 stores and a metal building. Other than that, it's the grocery store is gone. It had a swimming pool area for public. That's gone. There was going to be a store built there, but I don't know what happened to it. It's been sitting there for well over a year. Got dust bowl, and it's just the grocery store and the gas station. They're not there anymore. So there's room for growth, I think, in the area. And I've always thought that this property, I've had it for 10 years, and my partner had it for 10 years before me. And I've always thought that it needs to be commercial. It's ideal. It's next to a commercial building, the water company, and the parking lot behind that on one side. The lady that lives behind the property, she's all for it. And we have one opposition back in the corner of the property. The fellow that lives on the north side, he's advertising RV repair, so I'm sure he'd probably welcome a general, or I mean
I think,
commercial zoning on the property also.
but it's your strong feeling that that property would be better as a commercial property than it is as a residential property.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, anything else you'd like to share?
Pardon me?
Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Yeah, but I can't say.
All right. Do any commissioners have questions of the applicant? If not, we'll call you back up if we need. We need to open the public hearing portion of the meeting.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
We'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting and ask if there's anyone here tonight would like to speak regarding this minor amendment case or this minor amendment case 2301 or rezoning case 2304, either for or against. Seeing no one come forward to speak, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and ask staff a couple of questions if I can. The parcel 71 and 72 on our map, they're zoned what?
General commercial, Mr. Chairman.
Is that the same zoning he's asking for?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman,
Yes.
anything that you see on the map that is Zone C2 was there prior to the adoption of the comprehensive plan?
Yes. And when was the comprehensive plan adopted?
2010.
The
2010.
original comprehensive plan was adopted in 2001.
So they would have all been there before 2001? Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner McDermott.
Is the property objecting to this change directly adjacent to this rezoning request?
The letter that's objecting, what parcel are they on?
Parcel number are they on?
It's the one with the little star on
The
the map.
75.
On the
right there.
north, the three parcels on the north, the middle one.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, just one question. Are we requesting any buffering around this area?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, once they apply for permit, buffering screening is required for change of occupancies that will trigger those zoning requirements.
Those are part of, if it got rezoned before they could do business, they would have to buffer. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, because they did not provide us with a site plan, at this time, we're unable to determine whether they meet the buffering and screening requirements. They
Understand.
may need to apply for a variance if they don't meet those requirements.
Understand. Yeah, this is a difficult area. I mean, Foothills Boulevard looks like it should be commercial, right? But then, I mean, just in the last couple of years, we've rezoned commercial property to residential because the commercial property is not selling, and residential property was. So it's all in the eyes of the beholder here, I think, as to what's the best. Well, commissioners, we're back to you.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, you flipped the map on me. 71 and 72 are general commercial, is that correct?
That's correct.
So there we go.
75 is the objecting mobile home subdivision.
Yes, correct, I understand that. So you've got a basis for it with 71 and 72 with
Right next
that
door.
general. Now, is it C2 or C1?
C2.
C2, it is C2. I mean, that's a little step, going from.
Just one more lot.
Yeah, one more lot, but going to C2 zoning. Okay, one other question on this. What all activity can they do under C2? That's it. That's what I should have asked.
Here, Mr. Chairman, I will need a couple minutes to bring up the zoning ordinance to list the. Mr. Chairman, general commercial zoning will allow for antique stores, secondhand stores, and auction studios, appliance, computer, electronic, and hardware stores, art, craft, music, and dancing school, automobile accessory stores and tire sales, automobile sales, rental, and repair, bakeries, supermarket, grocery stores, food, beverage, and water sales and dispensing, barber shops, nail salons, bicycle, motorcycle, mob, and all-terrain vehicle sales, rental, repair, or storage, boats, jet skis, and marine craft sale, rental, repair, or storage, bookstores, business equipment sales, and rental business that support services including copying and printing, bus, train, or boat depots, car washes and automotive detail centers, childcare and childcare home services facilities, churches, again, department stores, warehouse clubs, superstores, and big box retail stores. I'm skipping a few. I'm just.
Is that enough, sir?
Yeah, there's no truck stop. There's no truck stop on there, is there? That's what I was looking for.
No,
A
Mr.
gas
Chairman.
station. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, it would allow a gas station.
A gas station, okay. Mr. Chairman, after this discussion, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. And, you know, the uses that may be used there, I think are kind of in line with that area. I mean, it's right on Foothills Boulevard.
5-lane highway.
Yeah, it's 5-lane. I think you're right with residential there. It's, I mean, you have residential, you have it. So, you know, and I believe you're right that there needs to be some commercial activity there in that area that serves the residents of that area. So with that being said, I would make a motion to recommend approval of that.
Well, let's talk about the minor amendment of the case first.
Oh, okay. I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chairman?
Yeah, all right.
I'd like to correct the statement. For the C2 zoning district, they would need to obtain a special use
Permit for
a
the gas station,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
But
So,
we have a question here before you.
Chairman, I'm inquiring about the land use boundary to the north. I see that it's along the center line of 43rd Lane, and it dissects the property right down the middle. So that probably could have gone one way or the other, right? If you would have traversed the boundary of that property, you could have gone to the north and accepted that portion, or how was that derived? How did you? It's just a line on a map.
No, Mr. Chairman, that was
One at a
done
time.
by the staff that
Before
were responsible
2001.
for putting together the comprehensive plan back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Do you remember why they did it?
I guess what I'm saying is, in reality, it could easily be in that
Yeah, you're
language,
right.
right?
You're right.
So why did you do it, Maggie?
Mr. Chairman, could you
Commissioner McDermott.
have staff put up the aerial photo showing the buildings? That,
The aerial
yeah,
photo?
that,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
I have another one. I don't know if this is.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I tend to lean to approval as well.
Well, let's deal with minor amendment case number 23-01. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to recommend approval of minor amendment
Is
case.
there a second? Second. There is a motion by Commissioner Black with a second by Commissioner Van Wy to recommend approval of minor amendment case number 23-01 as presented by staff. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minor amendment recommended for approval unanimously. Item number 6, rezoning case number 23-04.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to recommend approval of that rezoning case.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Black with a second by Commissioner McDermott to recommend approval of rezoning case 23-04 as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Denise, thank you for your phone call.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right, we'll be moving to item number 7 on tonight's agenda. Item number 7 on tonight's agenda is proposed text amendment to the Yuma County zoning ordinance, section 609, recreational vehicle subdivision zoning districts. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maggie Castro, Planning and Zoning Director. This is a proposed text amendment to section 609.02 and 609.04 of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. And it's to amend the recreational vehicle subdivision zoning district. It has been brought to staff's attention that stakeholders hold the following views. The current RVS zoning districts, which allows 2 dwellings per 6,000 square feet, is no longer useful to current developers. Neighbors and elected officials are leery of approving RVS zoning requests due to the remote possibility of 14 dwelling units per acre. And developers have attempted to alleviate these concerns through deed restrictions, allowing the storage of recreational vehicle on a home site but not the occupancy. But a zoning revision would be more appropriate. So what's before you on the slide is the proposed change to section 609.02, and it's specifically subsection A. What you see in bold is proposed new wording that will be added to the zoning ordinance. And then what is in strike-through format is text that is proposed to be deleted. So the new wording will state 1 single-family residence per parcel limited to a recreational vehicle, manufactured home, or site-built home. However, if a parcel was zoned prior to May 1, 2023 and is at least 6,000 square feet in area, the property owner may have 1 additional recreational vehicle. And then section 609.04, the intent is to add the text that you see in bold on the slide. Maximum density cannot exceed 5 lots per acre in RVS districts zoned after May 1, 2023. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the presentation. Staff recommends initiating a text amendment as presented.
Very good, thank you, Maggie. Do any commissioners have questions of staff at this point? Mr.
Just,
McDermott.
we're actually reducing density, right?
That's correct.
On one side of me, it says yes, the other side of me said, Well, we just approved a case just last 2 months ago, maybe, of the same thing. And I thought, how do you control your density? How do you control your hookups, your water, your sewer, all that stuff with?
Well, but what you're doing here is taking that away.
No, I understand that. And it should have been all along, is my point.
All right.
With that being said, I would make a motion to.
We got to have a public
Gotta have a
hearing.
public hearing.
Public hearing.
We need to go, we need to do.
Putting out of here.
Second that.
Tell me what your motion was. Well,
I move that we don't have a public hearing, and I second it.
we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting and ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak concerning this proposed commission initiative for a text amendment.
Seeing none?
Nobody wants to speak. We will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and we'll come back and ask what Commissioner Black's motion was.
I can't control like this. Yeah, I'll make a motion to do a commission initiative to whatever was set up there.
As presented by staff.
Right.
Presented by staff.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Black with a second by Commissioner Van Wy to initiate a text amendment to a commission action to make the zoning text changes presented by staff. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The initiative has been created. Next item on the agenda is discussion by commissioners, members, and planning director of events attended, current events, and a schedule for future planning commission. Anything?
Yep. Chairman, sorry. We wanted to see we can schedule that workshop
Oh,
in
yes.
June. June 20th is our, no, June 27th, I'm sorry. June 27th is our next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that we would just start at 4 o'clock, am I correct? At 4 o'clock, do a work session prior to our meeting. Would everyone be available on June 20th? Or 27th, I'm sorry?
27.
An hour before.
It'll be an hour. We'll provide dinner as well during that time, so it'll be at
4 o'clock?
You think you can teach this group something in an hour?
Good luck.
I need to make it an hour and a half.
It works for me.
I'm gonna try.
What, the 27th works for me? Does it work for everybody?
Sure messed up our vacation time.
Oh.
We'll see.
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, yes.
And you'll notify us of that earlier.
Yes, I'll send out a public notice for it.
All right. Anything else from anyone? If not, thank you all and have a good night. The meeting is adjourned.